Hi, it's Amy from the Ross Farm. I'm here today in the studio in Ohio, coming to you for Sheep and Wool School. And I'm really excited today because we have a lot of new things. Spring is the season of new beginnings, and I am so excited for the new things that are here today. So, first of all, on the wheel, I'm still spinning through those Classy Squid rolags that I showed you last week. I have not completed them yet. Hopefully, I'll finish them up by the end of the week, and then I will be sticking to my spin, one, bump, bat, etc. a week for 2025 to try to stash down some. I'm going to a new show this week, so I may find something that has to come home with me, and I'm going to feel really badly about that if I haven't gotten other things spun. So that's what I'm working, and I'm making progress, and that's what counts. So that's what's on the wheel. Now on the needles, I'm still working on that Shiny Squirrel, which I've made some progress on this week. This is my car knitting, my sitting knitting. This is what I'm doing when I'm not doing something else that requires my hands. So it's growing slowly but surely, and there are two entire skeins for this project, so that's going to take a while. That may get shoved to the back while I finish something else up, but so far this week, with everything else going on, that's what I've been working on. Tool Corner, it's finally here, and I'm so excited because I have been waiting for this since the fall, and it finally arrived yesterday. And I didn't open it up yet because I wanted to open it with you. We're going to do a little unboxing. And this is the new e-spinner from Louette. And it is called the Gen E. And you will be able to purchase one of these on the website. Don't know how that closes. And I can have it drop shipped directly to your house, or if you're looking for a new e-spinner, I will have this with me at Nash Yarn Fest this week. So if that's on your list to shop for, it will be there, and that will be very exciting for me because I love this thing. So finally gotten into the box. Only takes 2 implements. Now, let me set this on the floor so that I can get it out. It has a lovely instruction manual, and who doesn't need that? And then this is it. Oh, here's the parts for the Lazy Kate. We'll need to build the Lazy Kate, but I want to see the e-spinner. And here it is. How exciting is that? Ooh. So, like everything else, it is the highest quality. I love that it has this open window on the side so I can see everything inside of it. And then once I get this on its feet, the lid lifts off. And then these are the extra parts. It is very well packaged, as you can see. This is just to keep things in place. This appears to be the extra bobbins, which are stuck on there. Not quite sure how those come off. I know how they come off. We cut the box out of the way. That's how they come off. So the thing that I like so much about the Gen E is that it is completely self-contained in that little glass-topped case that I just showed you. And now that we have released that, Here is the power cord in the little velvet bag. And then the extra bobbins are mounted here. And then this is your e-spinner. And it's also wedged in with cardboard. So it is right there. Love this. This is so cool. I'm going to get it out for next week and spin with it so that I can show you everything about it next week. But I wanted to show you the unit as it came from the factory with all of its accoutrements and unbox that with you today. So next week I'll show you how it works, and by then I'll know how to take it apart and put it together as well. I like that this this top has little channels on the side that the e-spinner body fits into, so that it just can slide right down on top when you're doing it right and paying attention. So that is the new Gen E e-spinner, which is very exciting. So that'll be with me at Nash Yarn Fest, and I will be playing with it this week so that I can figure it all out. So exciting. Sheep and Wool School. So this week we're going to talk about fleece. And the thing that I love most about the Leicester Longwool is the versatility. It is soft, it is shiny, and it is a very long staple length. So you can make nearly anything out of it. And the drape that you get with the Leicester is just absolutely amazing. So there is one photo that I'm hoping will come up now of one of my friend's sheep in the UK with all of her locks flinging in the air. And I just wanted to show you, I actually have her locks here with me in the studio today. I had Alan send some of them over for me to play with, and they are extremely long. She is a yearling, which over there they call a hogget. So the staple length on her fleece is at least 12 inches. They can go 12 to 18 inches in a year. And this will be her finest fleece in her lifetime because it is her first year fleece. So as they age, they get a little bit coarser. But the reason that I brought her up particularly is because I wanted to show you the difference between the UK genetics and the genetics that we have here in the US. Now, this is also white Leicester Longwool. This is washed, and this is a yearling fleece here in the US. Now, this has been cut in the spring after having been sheared as a lamb in the fall, just to take the tips off. So you don't have the baby tips on this that you would have on most other fleeces, and it's only a half year's growth. So you'll see 8 to 12 inch long staple for most of them, but I just wanted to show you the difference between the crimp pattern on the UK fleece, which is much more wavy, and the US fleece, which is very much ringlets. So that was something that I wanted to talk about today. There is a wide range from gentle waves to spiral ringlets in the fleeces of the Leicester Longwools. And I also wanted to show you that in addition to the natural white Leicester Longwool, which is what you're going to find the most of in the UK, it took us a while here in the US to actually find the genetic combination to have naturally occurring black Leicesters in the US. And actually, it was my friend Kelly Miller in West Virginia who had the first colored Leicester Longwool born in the US. And I believe he was on the cover of National Geographic magazine. I think I remember his name was Winston or Edward. I think it was Edward actually. Many, many years ago. So I wanted to show you the natural black Leicester Longwool, which, as everything else, will sort of fade out to chocolatey brown at the tips. This is also a 6-month fleece. That's why it's not as long as it should be. I like to do year-long fleeces and have them a little bit longer, but this is on the finer end and has the gentle ripples like we talked about instead of the curls. And then this is one of my favorite things. This is what is called English blue. So these animals are born black and they will have a spot on them somewhere. And I call that the nucleation spot because that's where bubbles start in a glass when you pour beer or a soda. But that's where the color starts. So these animals are black with this small gray spot, and as they age, that gray will spread throughout their body until they become silver. And the coolest thing about them is some of the older animals, you can actually take one fleece and split it into a natural gradient of up to about 5 different shades of gray, because the part that was gray to start with, it gets lighter and lighter. And as the gray spreads, you still have much darker sections of the animal until when they're fully grown adults, where the gray started will be platinum, almost white. And then you will still have some really dark out toward the legs and usually the back end. And the other cool thing is, if you weren't sure when your lamb is born whether it's going to be black or English blue, the English blue generally have white teardrops below their eyes, and that's usually the first sign that that animal is actually going to be English blue. So I brought some of the English blue out today for you to see as well. And this is a full year's clip. So this is, if I stretched it, it's about 12 inches, but it's right about 8 right now. It is just beautiful waves. This is not washed yet either, so it's still a little tacky and a little bit dirty, but has beautiful waves, and it's this gorgeous silver gray color. And if you see this up against the black, you can see it's a pretty dramatic difference. So you can definitely tell if an animal is black or English blue. And even when you're looking at the outside of the fleece, the black will have these sort of chocolatey tips, where this one, if you see, it has the darker tips. So it's very much different than the white as well. So you'll definitely know that it's not white. I grabbed a little bit of the roving as well, because this is some of our white Leicester roving. And if you see, when you pull it apart, it's a quite long staple length in the roving. And the good thing about a long stapled roving is that you're going to have less pilling, you're going to have less chance for holes, because the drafting zone, the overlap of the fibers is going to be much less frequent than you would have in like an 1.5 or 2 inch long merino staple, where they're just overlapping almost constantly because the fiber is so short. So that is my topic on fleece for today. They will grow about 8 to 12 inches of fleece, generally speaking, at least here in the US. Sometimes in the UK they'll go as long as 18 inches, but 8 to 12 is a good number for the US flock. They have a very, very large and heavy fleece. Remember when I said polyester killed the Leicester because there was no market for the wool? Well, the fleeces are like 10 to 15 pounds. So if you're thinking you're going to work with a raw Leicester Longwool fleece, maybe get a buddy, because it's going to be big. It's going to be like a family of sweaters worth. And they do not have a very high lanolin content, so you're not going to get the kind of loss from washing that you would with some of the finer wools like the Corriedale or the Cormo or the Merino. So these are kind of an excellent value because you're getting more actual wool and not paying for quite so much lanolin. And the drape, as I said, the drape is fantastic. And the dye, they take the dye so beautifully and so richly, and especially in jewel tones, the luster that is natural in the Leicester Longwool, it'll give it the appearance of silk without any silk content. So it's one of my absolute favorites. As we've discussed, this is the dyed Leicester that we have, and it just glows. So I'm very excited about that. That is our Leicester fleece. And again, if you have any comments, please drop them down below. We did have a couple of fun comments last week after my story about the Leicesters coming back to the US in 1990. And I didn't realize that I had kind of set up a bit of a murder mystery. But for those who asked, they never did find Willoughby's killer. But because of him, we now have enough Leicesters in this country that we may be able to send some of the genetics back to the UK, Australia, and New Zealand if something bad were to happen over there. And some of the genetics that are in this country now are no longer present in the countries that they were imported from. A lot of the Leicester flocks in the UK were lost due to some of the diseases that went through in the last several years. And when there's a disease that goes through like that, a lot of times they will destroy entire flocks, and it does not matter if they are critically endangered or very rare genetics. That's the reason why a lot of us have chosen to do some semen and embryo and germoplasm collection and preservation in case something bad like that happens. And there's a wonderful organization that did that several years ago in this country called this SVF Foundation, and they preserved rare breed animals for the next generation. So we're really grateful for that. But the ones that have been lost in the UK are still here in the US, so we may be able to actually send that genetic material back to them at some point in the future. It's a long and drawn out process, but it can happen. So that I'm very, very grateful for. So that's our Leicester Longwools, and you know how much I love them. Sewing stuff, I have been working more on my Snow Day Surprise, which is my UFO for this month for the Polka Dot Pincushion 2025 UFO Challenge. So I got it all cut last week. This week I've started piecing half square triangles to make the corner blocks for the large blocks. The blocks themselves will end up being, I believe, 16-inch squares, and there's 16 of them. So they're all made up of multiple segments. I think they're technically a 9-patch that's been segmented to make stars. But I am working through all of those half square triangles and getting the corner portions made, which will actually be 4 of the 9 sections for each individual block. So that's been very exciting. And yesterday with that package, this package also came. So I thought maybe you might like to unbox the Sew Sampler with me. So this is the Sew Sampler box, and it's a monthly subscription quilting box from a place called the Fat Quarter Shop. And I've been getting these for a couple of years now, and I absolutely love them. Not only are they the newest fabric lines with a pattern to make a project, which you've seen some of the projects I've made, whether you knew it or not, but there's also some new and fun tools in here, and usually a couple of little goodies or surprises. So I thought we would just open this today too. So this is the February box, which just came. February was a short month. We're going to give them a pass on that. But this one is called Cut to the Good Stuff. And on the back here, there are an advertisement for a sew along that they're doing, and then a another quilt idea that we could make with these fabrics. And so there is a free pattern QR code for a layer cake lattice quilt, and also for the YouTube tutorial for making that quilt. So that's always a good piece of information. Then they also come with this little brochure that tells you all about the products that are inside, which I never look at because that ruins a surprise. So in here is a friction pen. I love these. If you ever need to mark any kind of fabrics but get the marks off very easily, these are actually erasable with heat. So I mark my half square triangles, I sew them, and then when I press them, the heat of the iron makes the marks go away. So these are one of my very favorite things. There is a layer cake in here, and it's not telling me what this is, but it looks like Lori Holt. So I'm betting the quilt pattern that we get to in the bottom will probably tell us what it is. Oh, this is awesome. There is a new ergonomic rotary cutter in this fun coral pink, which, I mean, I'm all about that. This is going to look amazing in the home studio with all of my turquoise and pink. So that is great, and I could probably use a new one. So the quilt here this month is called Cheerful, and it's a pattern for this cheerful quilt. And the 10-inch stacker, which is kind of like a layer cake, except this is 24 pieces instead of 42, is called Peace and Plenty, and it is from Lori Holt. And it tells us in here how much materials we need to make a 47-inch by 59-inch quilt, which is either a baby quilt or maybe a lap quilt, but definitely big enough for a wall quilt. And there's a photo here of it on the back, which it's really cute. Sometimes I really don't like them, but this one I really do. And then in the bottom of the box is also the monthly sampler quilt pattern that is in each month's box. Every year they do a different sampler quilt that has 12 blocks to it, and each month you get one of the pattern blocks. So this is the quilt along this year is called Peaceful Baskets. It started last April, so this is block number 11. And that's really exciting. I love everything in the box this time. That doesn't always happen, but everything in here tells you all about it. And the stacker here is called Junior Peace and Plenty. It's by Lori Holt for Riley Blake Designs. It says there's so much to piece together with the vibrant collection. This lively 24-piece stacker of Peace and Plenty by Lori Holt adds a burst of beauty to your February with vintage-inspired prints, bursting with florals, flower sacks, and sampler designs. That's one of the things I really like about the Lori Holt collections, is a lot of her inspiration is from flower sacks. And if you've seen any of my home studio, you'll know I really dig the flower sack designs. I have a lot of flower sack fabrics that were my grandmother's. My grandmother made my mother's clothes out of them in the 30s and 40s. And that brings me to my grandmother's china closet, and the other china closet that I finished my organizational project this month with in the home studio. And you'll see that I have a lot of my prints. Actually, I used comic book boards, which are acid free. They're used for preserving comic books inside a sleeve so that the comic books don't get bent or damaged, but they're perfect for making tiny bolts of fabric, which I have all lined up in my china closet so I can see exactly what I have. And I think that's going to help me to use some stuff up a little bit better, because I can never find it. And I had it all flat folded and laying, but the 6-yard sections would kind of squish down the 1-yard sections, and then I couldn't really see what was there. But when I have them wrapped up like this, I can see each individual mini bolt of fabric. It's just like a tiny little sewing store right there in my china closet. And the other china closet is full of all of my layer cakes, my jelly rolls, my honey buns, and my charm packs, and also my fat quarters. So they all live in one, and all of the yardage lives in the other. And it just makes me really smile when I see my grandmother's china closet repurposed to use in my studio right beside my sewing machine, where I spent so much time with my gram. So that's very exciting for me to. Oh, and this month I also bought some barn quilt patterns from Corey Yoder of Coriander Quilts. I absolutely love her YouTube channel. If you are getting into quilting or are interested in quilting or are a quilter, if you haven't found Coriander Quilts, it is, she lives very close to here in Amish country, and her fabric lines are amazing. And these barn quilts are basically large scale blocks. They're really big, like a barn star would be. So I'm really excited to make those with some of the fabrics that I have laying around, and maybe some of the scraps. I haven't decided yet. I have a lot of scraps from my quilting about 25 years ago that I really still love, and then I have a lot of 30s fabrics that I think would look really good in that. So I'm going to get on those next. So, new and noteworthy. This is my favorite part. I'm so excited to finally be able to show you the big brown lump that we've been talking about for almost 2 months now. My allergies are horrible. I'm sorry. This is it. This is the Last Word shawl, or I'm sorry, vest by Thea Coleman. And she designed it in our Ashen Wensleydale, which I forgot to bring over here, but here it is. Melinda's here helping me today get ready for Nash Yarn Fest. So this is our Ashen Wensleydale. It is an Aran weight. It's 186 yards per 100 grams. And I used 5 of the skeins to make this vest. And I can't tell you how much I love this thing. It is epic. Her design is perfection. The way that the ribbing blends right into the lace work, and it's a sort of simple eyelet and ribbing pattern that gives the look of lace, but it kind of looks like it might be cables. It's just really, really cool. I love it so much. And it was quick to knit. It was fun to knit. You know, I kept telling you how much I was enjoying this test knit. So I'm very glad to have it done, and I'm very glad to have it on and to be able to tell you about it. And it is going with me to Nash Yarn Fest this week, and I will be wearing it Friday night for the preview party. I think I'm going to find a nice dress to put it over, and probably a really cool set of boots, because I feel like I should be wearing boots if I'm in Nashville. And you know, I have a really nice collection of boots. Back when I was on the farm, anytime I had a meeting to go to, I would wear my cowboy boots. So I have quite a few pairs that I hardly ever get to wear here in Ohio. But Nashville seems like if I'm going to wear them someplace, that's where I'm going to wear them. So I'm going to get those out. And the other thing, and if you are watching this on Saturday or Sunday, there is a code to get 20 or 25% off this pattern on Thea's Instagram and Ravelry, and you need to go get that. It is something I know you're going to enjoy, even if you don't knit it in Ashen Wensleydale. But if you do, thank you. When she launched this, the orders started rolling in, and that's why Melinda's here today. She's helping me get everything twisted and labeled and shipped out the door to all of the folks who were kind enough to pick up the Ashen Wensleydale for the Last Word vest. So thank you so much. You know, I always say it, but every time an order comes through, no matter where we are or what we're doing, I squeal. And John gets a little bit freaked out because I'll just be sitting there and all of a sudden I'll just, you know, and totally squeal. And he's starting to learn that that usually means that an order came in. So thank you so much for that. And if you haven't gotten your Ashen Wensleydale, there's still some of it left, so definitely get over to the website, therossfarm.com, and order yourself some Ashen Wensleydale, and then go see Thea Coleman at Baby Cocktails and get the Last Word vest. Now, it's such a big week because a second pattern is launching in our yarn this week. So this is the second one, and this I absolutely love. This is the Farm Yarn Shawl by Corey Eichelberger. She's iRock Knits on Ravelry and pretty much every place else. IROCKNITS, which is kind of a play on her name, CORI. So that backward is basically Corey Knits, but iRock Knits. And this is called the Farm Yarn Shawl, and she designed it in one skein of our Funky with one skein of our Dyed in the Wool Leicester Longwool. So if you're doing the anything along, this would qualify because the Funky is Cheviot and the Leicester Longwool dyed in the wool. So that would be January and March together in one project. Super exciting. This is also going with us to Nash Yarn Fest this week. So you can see it up close in person. And it will travel with us this year to all of our festivals. So if you're not making it to Nashville, but you are going to be at Maryland or Great Lakes or Rhinebeck or Shenandoah or wherever else we end up, it will be there as well. And it is so delightful. I love the marled stripes that she did with the Funky, and then this simple lace pattern that she's done with the Leicester Longwool. It looks very intricate, but it's just really cool. So that is the Farm Yarn Shawl by Corey Eichelberger in Funky and Dyed in the Wool Leicester Longwool, also available over on therossfarm.com. Or you can knit it with whatever you want. We're just very, very grateful that these two wonderful designers have chosen to work in our yarn and launch patterns this week that we can tell you about. So it's very exciting, and I'm very happy about that. Speaking of being very, very happy, for in season this week, we had 2 or 3 absolutely beautiful days. We'll call it full spring. It looked like spring had finally come to Northeast Ohio. It was in the 50s. It was beautiful and sunny. So my bestie, Beth, my BFF for 35 years, came up to celebrate her birthday. And I took her to a new place up near Cleveland, which used to be called Restoration Hardware, but it's now just called RH. And they have a rooftop restaurant in kind of a glass solarium on the top of the RH design building. And so I took her there for her birthday this week. Her birthday is actually on Monday of next week, but I won't be here. So we did it this week. And we had lobster rolls, and we had a burrata appetizer that was delicious. And then for dessert, she got salted chocolate chip cookies, and they brought a little candle out for her to blow out. So that was really cute and fun. And they had amazing iced tea. And then she and I did what we love to do. She and I love to cook. So we ended up going to Sur La Table and Williams Sonoma and Penzeys Spices and Trader Joe's. I think we went to Anthropology too. Yeah. So we had a really lovely day together. And then, of course, the next day it snowed. And we're back to third winter, I think. Welcome to Northeast Ohio. If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes because it's going to change. It's going to change. Then we took a little ride. John and I took a little ride down to Amish country to our friend's home to pick up some videos from my young adulthood and my son's childhood. They actually started with my high school graduation and graduation party, and then my weddings and my son's baby showers and his birth, and up to probably about age 5. So that was It was kind of a lot. Um, but we got to have a lovely day together when it was still nice outside. And we went to this little restaurant down in Massillon, Ohio called Top of the Viaduct. And it's just kind of like a family diner kind of vibe. And they have ham loaf, which John absolutely loves. And it was just a really, really fun day. And while we were down there, we went to our favorite little thrift store. I may have found a couple more pieces of plate night, and I got two brand new mini muffin tins and a piece of my favorite hammered aluminum, decorative hammered aluminum from the 50s. And I got those at my favorite little thrift store. And the mini muffin tins were brand new. They still had the labels inside the muffin cup, so whoever had them had never even used them. So that was really exciting. Um, I am now working on the laundry room and getting all of the seed starting stuff all in order, all of everything together. And this week I was able to find at Costco, if you're doing seed starting, they have the long LED um, tube lights in a 2-pack for like $20. So those will go over top of the seedlings as soon as they start to germinate. And I'm just so excited to be growing things again this year. That is one of the things I'm most excited about for 2025, is hopefully having a really nice garden. So we are headed to Nash Yarn Fest on Thursday. We will see you Friday night for the preview party if you have a ticket for that. We will see you Saturday for the market. It is 10 to 5. And so excited. Can't wait to go to Nashville, eat my favorite foods. We're going to the Loveless Cafe. Someone has never been to Nashville yet, so it's going to be an experience for her. And I'm taking her to Peg Leg Porker, and I'm taking her to the Fluffy Muffin, and I'm taking her to the Loveless Cafe. So it's going to be a flying trip, but we're going to have as much fun as we can pack into that short amount of time. Then I'll be off the road for April, getting ready for Maryland Sheep and Wool, and then Great Lakes Fiber Festival. Then we're off to we're off to MAFA, Mid Atlantic Fiber Association's conference in June, and then in July we're at the Guild for Contemporary Hand Weaving in Houston, and I think there's still a couple of seats available in that class if you are in the Texas vicinity and want to do that. And then I've got some really cool things coming up in August. We're definitely going to be in Michigan. We've got a double booth and 6 classes. So if you missed taking classes with me in Michigan last year, you got another chance this year. And there's another thing that's going to happen in August that I'm really excited about, but I can't tell you yet because I haven't signed the contract. But as soon as I do, you'll know it first. Know that. So until next week, please like, share, subscribe, comment. We are almost this close to having 200 subscribers, which is so exciting to me because we started out with like 6, and I never thought anybody was going to want to listen to me talk about sheep and wool, but I guess you guys are. So next week, we'll talk more about Leicester Longwools. I want to show you some of the things that I've made with the Leicester and give you some ideas and tips and tricks for how to work with Leicester Longwool. And then we'll also probably have a few more stories because they're my favorite. And I don't think I've told you yet about my favorite Leicester sheep. I know I've told you a little bit about Jeff, but I haven't told you about some of my ewes. They were Geraldine was my first favorite, and then I had several. So anyways, like, share, subscribe, comment. Come on back next week. We may not have a full episode until later on Sunday next week, but I'm hoping to put up some shorts from our time on the road in Nashville, especially some videos of the booth and of the action going on there at Nash Yarn Fest with Modern Daily Knitting. So I'm really excited about that. So until then, I'll see you next week. Bye.